Hello, lords and ladies, and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. We're back at camp. Let's go ahead and talk to some people, and then we'll decide where we'll go next for the main story. We just got Liliana, so let's go ahead and talk to her.
Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
There you are. Let's see. This vision of yours.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in.
So it's just a dream. Why say it's a vision?
I have had dreams. This was different somehow. When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rose bush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
So the Maker didn't actually say that. You're just interpreting it as such. That's rather convenient. Okay, so that's just wishful thinking. Did you hear voices? That's just wishful thinking, Liliana.
I suppose you will never understand. No one does. It's all right. I know what I know, and no one will ever make that untrue.
Liliana disapproves, but I don't feel bad about that because she's.
Yes?
I do like Liliana, even though she's a bit of a I don't know. She's a bit too hard on the emotional aspect of things and not enough on the concrete. But you know, you do need people who can see all different sides of things than you can. And I do like the voice actress, so I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
Okay, what was life like in the Chantry Cloister?
Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
Yes, they tend to be self-righteous.
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
But he speaks to you. So you're special, but nobody else is. I don't really want the Maker looking in on me anyway.
Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
She disapproves again, but
Yes.
don't worry. I'll get that back up. She's not going anywhere. I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
You can actually get them to disapprove enough so that they'll, I don't know if they'll leave your service. I know you can tell them to go away. I don't know if they'll actually leave if you get them to be low enough. I've never actually done that. Maybe in a future game. But I've got gifts and stuff to get her up to max. It's really not that hard to do. You just have to use the right gifts on the right people. So, and there's plenty of stuff that I'll probably agree with her on because she is a good character. So we'll see eye to eye plenty of times. Morgan, I'm actually more worried about. What would someone like you be doing in Lothering's Chantry?
What is meant by someone like me?
Sanctimonious, preachy. Nah, I don't say that. They don't teach you how to fight in the cloister, do they?
Did you think I was always a cloistered sister? The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
Affirmed?
We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken.
And why were you seeking safe haven?
The chantry does not pride, and you should. I desired time apart from the world. I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
Yeah, she's not fooling anybody. Yeah. But we'll get back to that. Dog, what are you barking at? Oh my goodness.
Oh, look at what your fool dog placed in my pack.
Oh, puppy.
A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
It's the thought that counts. He means well.
The dirty mongrel can have this back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
You heard the lady.
I don't want it, you worthless fur bag.
You're a mean lady.
Oh, he's just trying to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
What else you got to say, Dougie? Watch Sten and Alexander.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
I see. Anything else? Gee. Alexander digs furiously in the ground at your feet. Trying to find a way through the earth, are we? He goes back to digging. It's gonna take some time, you know. Well, good luck with that. It's funny because dogs dig. Okay, what else we got here? Got a bunch of shiny arrows. Let's talk to these guys. I got to talk to Sten too.
You're a hard man to find. Where are my manners? The name is Levy Dryden. Did Duncan ever mention me? Levy of the coins? Levy the trader?
Duncan never mentioned you.
Really? He never told you of old Levy? We've known each other for years. But here I am carrying on while you have a blight to stop. Don't want to waste your time. But you see, Duncan promised that together we'd look into something important for the Wardens. And for me. But poor Duncan's... well, no more. A tragedy it is, at that. But I know he would want his work carried on. His pledge fulfilled.
How did you know Duncan?
It's a bit of a tale, that is. But I'm the one who brought the Grey Wardens back to Ferelden. Well, I was one of the ones. There were a lot of us. Maker's breath, I'm a bit nervous. Honoured to be here, really.
Go ahead and tell your tale.
After King Marek freed us from the Orlesians, the Grey Wardens begged the King's permission to come into Ferelden, some sort of internal business. Me and a mess of other Warden sympathisers spoke on behalf of your order. Tan Loghain was very much against letting Orlesian Wardens in the kingdom. But Marek, Andraste, bless him, was a fair-minded monarch and he let them in.
Go on, I'm listening.
So that's why I was there when the Wardens and their leader, Genevieve, presented herself to the King. The first Wardens in Ferelden in over a century. Proudest day of my life, that was. Duncan was a bit of a scamp back then. We were of an age and struck up a friendship. The King himself went with the Wardens on their mysterious business. When he returned, he rescinded King Ardland's decree, and the Wardens came back to Ferelden for good.
Sorry, I'm just reading all these choices. Marek rescinded the decree just like that?
Marek was a bit of a visionary. A powerful mind, that one. In his travels with the Wardens, He must have seen how important their cause was, and been moved by it.
I doubt that's the full story.
There was some talk at court that he did it to improve relations with Orzammar. That might have factored into it, but make no mistake, King Marek was a giant among men.
I thank you for your part in bringing the wardens here.
Oh, his stomach's all aflutter. You're welcome.
What promise did Duncan make to you?
Well, as you know, my family's name is mud around noble circles. My great-great-grandmother, Sophia Dryden, was the last warden commander of Ferelden back when the wardens were known as freeloaders. So King Arlen banished the wardens, and he took House Dryden's land and titles.
What happened next?
Hard to say. After King Arlen died, there was a civil war, loads worse than this one. And our family was on the run, hunted by enemies, with nary a friend in the world. But Drydens are tough. We rebuilt, became merchants, and we never lost our pride.
I'm surprised you kept your name.
Our family's only crime was guarding the kingdom against the Blight. We're not ashamed of that.
So what favor did you ask of Duncan?
I asked for the truth. My family reveres Sophia Dryden. We know she died at the old Grey Warden base, Soldier's Peak. We want evidence to clear her name. It won't restore our land or our titles, but it'll restore our honor.
I've never even heard of Soldier's Peak.
Well, no one's been to Soldier's Peak since Ireland's days. At least none that's come back. I spent years mapping the maze of tunnels to the peak, and I found the way a few years back. So I went to Duncan, I did, and I said that he could reclaim the old base and my family could have its honor.
Why didn't Duncan help you?
Darkspawn surfaced in southern Ferelden, and Duncan got plenty busy recruiting new wardens and meeting with good King Caelan. Duncan said he would help after the Battle of Ostagar. Said there might be useful things at the peak, but he never had the chance.
How will reclaiming the peak help the wardens?
Soldier's Peak has strategic and symbolic importance. Duncan said that it would be worth it right there. He also hoped to recover lost warden history and perhaps a few old relics. No one knows what's up there now.
What do you need from me?
I can pick my way through the tunnels at the base of Soldier's Peak, but the place, well, they say it's haunted, and it'll be dangerous for certain. Will you think on it at least?
Your family's faith will be rewarded. I will help you.
1,000 blessings upon you, Warden. I'll mark down the location on your map. When you arrive, we'll pick our way through the tunnels together.
Huzzah! A side quest. I love side quests.
Ah, it's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Ferric at your service.
That's these
once
guys again.
I saw your camp and remember the kind offer that you made the last time we met. And is there anywhere safer for a poor merchant and his son to sleep? I think not. I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes?
Have you been following us?
Following you? I'm not even certain where you're going, my friend. And quite frankly, it's none of my business. Trust me when I say that my encountering you here was serendipity and nothing more. I travel a lot, so I'm bound to meet everyone on the road eventually. If you prefer, I'll take my boy and be on my way. But regretfully, you're the safest spot on this road, without a doubt.
You're free to stay. Just mind yourselves.
Wonderful. Thank the gentleman, won't you, boy?
Thank you, sir.
We won't be a bother to you and your companions, I assure you. If you should need enchantments, simply talk to my boy. Otherwise, come speak with me.
Yay, and our camp now has a merchant.
If there's anything I can do for you, please, please tell me.
Let me see your wares.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Yeah, this guy actually has lots of awesome stuff. He's got a ton of these runes, Master Lightning Rune, Grandmaster Lightning Rune. Oh boy. Quite pricey, but some of the best stuff here. A lot of it is Grey Warden Hand Puppet. I've never seen that before. Tin Helmeted Puppet is painted with a blue and gray heraldry of Grey Wardens. Doesn't say who it's for. Stick, a fat loot. What is this from? This must be DLC because I've never seen any of this before. That's cool. It's all free too. I don't remember. I have no idea what this is from. I didn't download any sort of mod that does this, so maybe this has to do with it being the Ultimate Edition. I'm not sure. Manual Ranger. Ooh. This is, oh, okay, so this is how you become a ranger. You buy this manual, and you can unlock that specialization. So that's a good. But yeah, a bunch of gifts. That goes to Morgan for sure. I would like to get all that stuff and try and up my affection with certain people. And Tomb of Physical Technique, that's going to increase that. What does that do? That gives you a talent point, and that gives you a spell. So those are like super duper great. You want to use those on your main character if you can. But I don't use spells, so I can't use the Tome of Arcane Technique, only the physical one. But I can give it to Morgan or another party member. So yeah, wow, lots of good stuff. What else you got? Now, the Spell Ward, from what I understand, this, if you're a tank, this is the best necklace in the game. It's 14 gold, which is quite a bit, but it has 30% spell resistance, 10% chance to dodge attacks, 8 health regeneration, 5 willpower. That is just a beauty. That's perfect for a tank. The rest of these are pretty good too. 2 willpower on that one, nature resistance, stamina regeneration. I actually don't have any belts. Increased monetary gain, Dwarven Merchant's Belt. Someone will get that. Plus 2% range crit. That's pretty cheap too. I'm probably fine a couple of them. And then these are fire and spell or ice damage. Whole bunch of stuff. This is where you can get the rest of the Blood Dragon plate set. But I can't use it yet. It requires a bunch of strength. I can get these other things though, like this Proving Helm, +1 willpower, +1 constitution. Lots of really good stuff here. I'll most likely go through all this stuff off camera and just and get outfitted. I have about 8 gold, and I'm pretty sure I have a few things I can sell. And I think it's the Veshial it's called. It's probably some Orlais thing, some fancy French pronunciation, but it's 131 gold. It's very expensive, but this is one of the best weapons in the game. I think it is the best axe. I could be wrong though. It's made out of dragon bone. +2 strength, 10% crit backstab damage. Yeah, it's pretty great. And Sylvan's Mercy is pretty nice for a mage. Pretty good mid-game stuff. So yeah, lots of good things here. I'll go through all this another time, but I am gonna buy these gifts since they're free. Actually, I need to sell stuff. Let's do that. Selling that stuff. Okay. Enchanted dagger. Hold on to that for just a bit. I can sell a lot of these Grey Warden's swords. Balanced Greatsword can go. Oathkeeper. I just got that. And that's pretty nice. That's a good tanky sword. I might equip that over the Grey Warden's sword, actually. Shortbow can go. Steel Maul can go. Didn't like how that was working out. Barbarian Mace is +1 strength. Not bad, but that's going as well. Any normal stuff? No. Okay, studded leather helm, gray iron helmet, that's going. Sell them all. Leather gloves. So get rid of the rough stuff first, and then we'll worry about the other things. Rough. Chantry clothing. Chantry robe. Never gonna use that. Never gonna use this clothing. Scale arm, steel scale. Okay. I should probably sell the rest of this stuff. Probably. And he's got to have some crafting things. Yeah, he has all the flasks and agents and stuff. This is Bowden Fedek, and he's our merchant, and he's not going anywhere. So we're glad to have him. I wonder... I really wonder what all this stuff goes to. I'll have to read all these descriptions. Like the Antivan brandy, I have a good idea who that goes to. The Canary Prayers of the Dead, that most likely goes to Sten. The Beard Flax, most likely it goes to someone. Alistair doll? Why does Alistair have dolls made after him? King Merrick's shield. I have a feeling I know who that goes to. Fat Loot. Favorite among bards. Well, we do know a bard. A stick. Stick's got to go to the dog. Grey Warden hand puppet. Who would get this? I don't know. Protective cone. It's a cone of shame. Pearly white cone of unknown material attached to dog collar. It looks like it would be uncomfortable to the wearer. Well, that's no good. Ugly boots. Many insects died to make these iridescent boots. What a waste. I know there is a guy I know who likes... Oh, I'll have to think about that. Orlesian mask. Fashioned of lace and porcelain. This expensive mask is height of fashion for Orlesian nobility. Chant of light unabridged. I wonder who that goes to. Scented soap. Bar brightly colored soap smells of elf fruit blossoms. Butterfly sword. Unclear whether this gaudy blade is meant as a weapon of war or simply a stage prop. Cat lady's hobble stick. Gnarled staff carries odors of cat urine and prune juice. What is this from? I didn't download this. What is this? This iron girdle looks distinctly uncomfortable. A sturdy lock keeps the loins secure. Oh, jeez. 50 sugar cakes. And these are just generic looking gifts. A lump of charcoal. Who would want a lump of charcoal? A rotten onion? An uncrushable pigeon. Oh boy. I have a feeling I know who the uncrushable pigeon goes to. I do need this backpack. But it's 7 gold, and boy oh boy, that will clean me out. I need money! Alright. We'll come back to that. Let's go ahead and talk to Sten. Sten?
Why are we stopping?
I think we should talk for a moment.
There are darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
I need to know if I can trust you at my back.
I am Kunari. I have given my word to aid you. We are not people of idle promises.
I've never seen a Kunari before. Tell me about your people.
No.
No? Why not?
People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of... The elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
Burn. Are you all right? You were in that cage for weeks.
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
We should get moving.
As you wish.
Sten is a bit of a, he's a bit Spartan. The Kunari people are very utilitarian. That might be the wrong word. They're very, they have like a caste-based society. And so he's of a certain warrior caste. And pretty much all the men are warriors and all the women do all the other mundane things, more or less. And so if you don't fall in line, you are not a Kunari, essentially. And they regard you as, you know, worthy of nothing but death. You're not doing what you're supposed to do, so therefore you are not worthy. They're very rigid. And, you know, part of Sten's arc is kind of pushing forward in light of that. He's surrounded by all these people who aren't like him. So, but he also has another secret agenda that we'll get to later. Morgan, you got anything new to say?
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you some questions.
If you must.
And we talked about all this stuff before. Okay. Talk to Liliana. I think we've talked to... Let's talk to Alistair. Make sure he doesn't have anything new to say.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
Templars, Grey Wardens. How did you become a Grey Warden? So you said this Arl Eamon raised you.
Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
Really? That must have been tough for them.
Well, they were flying dogs, you see. Surprisingly strict parents, too. And devout Andrastians to boot.
That is what they say about Anders. Who's Anders?
That, and that they make a great deal of cheese. Funny, but the dogs never mentioned cheese. As a matter of fact, if you said cheese around them, they'd start growling. Isn't that odd? Or did I dream all of that? Funny the dreams you'll have when you sleep on a cold, hard ground, isn't it?
Yes, yes, indeed. He likes to deflect things. I dream of becoming a Great Warden. Oh, wait.
Point taken. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arleman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
Why did he send you off to the Chantry?
Arleman eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
What an awful thing to do to a child.
Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
You were young.
And raised my dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Alistair approves, +3. Okay, so Alistair was raised by Arleman and was sent off to the Chantry when the Arl's wife decided that she didn't want a bastard around the house. So, you know, kind of rough. But he turned out okay. Let's go ahead and give away some gifts. We do have some of those. That'll clear up some inventory space as well. Shiny gold ring, that goes to anyone. Beef bone, that goes to the dog. Where are you, doggy? Where are you? I'll have to be in my party, I guess. Ale, that goes to somebody else. Wine goes to somebody else. Liliana gets the bronze symbol of Andraste. Oh, there she is.
That's a wonderful thought. I don't know what to say.
That was +10, so that pretty much erases any disagreements we might have had. And Morgan gets the golden rope.
A fine gift. You have my thanks.
That's +8. Small carved statuette. Alistair loves those things.
I could get used to this, you know.
+10, nice. Golden scythe. Okay, that goes to somebody else. Shiny gold ring. Who's the lowest? Liliana's probably the lowest. Sten's the lowest, but I know what Sten wants. He's actually fairly easy to get affection with. You just have to kind of act like a jerk, and everything will be fine. To him. You don't have to act like a jerk in general, just to him. For some reason, he approves when you treat him like a jerk. Okay, plenty of stuff. All right. So Morgan's magic went up a little bit. See if that unlocked any new things.
Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
You are a traveling minstrel. Do you have tales to share?
Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think.
Tell me about the Darkspawn.
Chantry lore says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris.
Seems rather extreme. Know any stories from Orlais?
Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais.
That sounds interesting.
A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot.
I saw that coming.
Many legends have familiar forms and themes. We enjoy them so because we know them. Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered.
Did she win the tourney?
Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the grand melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat.
That's terrible.
The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Orlais so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier.
Do you know any Ferelden legends?
I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth?
I met Flemeth in the Kokari Wilds.
Are you sure? Was she the Flemeth of legend? Flemeth, the devourer of men? Flemeth, mother of witches? Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists?
She didn't really introduce herself as such.
Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you.
Flemeth was once beautiful.
Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds.
Ay, ay, ay. She does go on, doesn't she?
Which one?
Alright, I think that's enough stories for now.
It will come to you soon, I'm sure.
Oh, never mind. Wowie, wow. Okay. Sorry about that. She tends to ramble. Let's see. We talked to Morgan. Alistair, anything?
What do you need? Ask away.
Do. Why have you remained a Templar if you hate the Chantry?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen you wearing it.
I keep it hidden under my pillow. Sometimes I'll take it out just so I can hug it fondly and remember the good old days. Brings a tear to the eyes, you know.
So this is where you deflect questions with humor, right?
I'd use my shield if I could, but I think you might actually spot me hiding behind it. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
Then make up something more exciting.
You know, I like the way you think. You're all right. If you're really curious, then I'll tell you. The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Al Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
What did you enjoy about the training?
The education, mostly, but also the discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind in order to use the abilities we have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful for when we encountered Darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
Home is wherever camp is. We're travelers now.
We won't always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good. Either way.
They can be rebuilt.
I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens, but we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now.
We're supposed to be adventuring. Oh, and he gained some constitution. That's excellent. All right. So, yeah. I think that's it. Do want to talk to Mr. Sandal.
Hello.
The
Hello.
boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed.
What enchantments does he do?
He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment!
And there you have it.
We have a catchphrase. I want some enchanting done.
Enchantment!
Yay! So the only weapon we have that can take an enchantment is currently Oathkeeper, which is a decent sword. I'm probably going to use it. So I can add a chance to reduce movement speed, fire damage, or electricity damage. You can kind of, I believe you can take these out. So we're going to add electricity damage. I'm going to actually equip it. Because the Grey Wooden Sword is quite good, but this Oathkeeper is a little bit better. More damage. I don't get the crit stuff, but I do get armor penetration, electricity damage, and 10% healing effects received. So Oathkeeper it is. Yayo. And now I'm shocking. So that's good.
You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road.
Have you heard any rumors?
Some folks aren't happy about Tyrn Loghain being named regent. There are rumors he had something to do with the king's death. Isn't that the most ridiculous thing you ever heard? The Darkspawn killed him, sure enough. If Tyrn Loghain couldn't save the king from that inn, then nobody could. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is.
You weren't there. So what's your story exactly?
Well, if you're really interested, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you. I am originally from Orzammar, the famed dwarven city that lies beneath the stately Frostback Mountains. I was a merchant there, too. Merchant caste. These things are in the blood, you know. You can't just leave them behind. I ran a fairly successful business. Rare artifacts, you know. Old things, grand things. The nobles loved them. Reminded them of the lost glory days, I suppose.
Why did you leave?
One day, a noble woman came to my stall. She looked around for a bit and then started shrieking in dismay. Apparently, she believed that a pair of braces I had for sale once belonged to her brother. He'd been lost in a cave-in, you see, while on an expedition to clear out the Darkspawn from one of the tunnels running close to the city. They were made specially for him. They're unique, she shrieked. He stole them from my poor brother's corpse. She had me arrested on the spot, of course. Nobles, they're touchy like that.
And did you steal them?
Well, I didn't steal them. You see, I'd been paying these castless thugs to venture out into the deep roads for me. The lost tigers, they're full of things that people left behind. Sometimes you can find a treasure, something worth a little gold.
Better to do something with them than leave them to rot.
That's exactly how I see it. The noblewoman, she wasn't too happy with the theft of her brother's braces. I don't know what they planned for me, and I didn't want to find out. Bribed the guard that was watching me and took off for the surface first opportunity I got. Never looked back.
Fascinating story, thank you.
You're quite welcome. Now, is there anything the boy or I can get you?
You didn't mention your son in your tale.
Ah, yes. I'm married to a fine woman back in Denerim, it's true. She'd give me a son if she could, but that's not likely to ever be. Sandal here, I found him in the deep roads years ago. Abandoned, I think. And he was never quite right in the head. I took him in, and I brought him with me when I came here to the surface. He may not be my blood, true, but I think of him as one.
We left Orzammar.
That's right, boy. Maybe one day we'll see it again.
Blood isn't all that important.
That's how I've always felt. As long as he's happy, so am I. It's not as if I don't benefit, mind you. Turns out the boy's a natural working with enchantments. He might have even been lyrium-addled. I never thought of that before, to be honest. Happens sometimes. He can work an enchantment into just about anything, however, given some time. Could probably open his own shop, if he knew how.
Enchantment.
Well, he does seem to enjoy it, at least.
I should go.
Of course. Good fortune to you and yours.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Well, that was quite a bit of talking, and I apologize for that. But this game really does reward you for being diligent about keeping up with your party members. It opens up quests later on, and it makes your party members stronger, both by increasing their affection and gaining extra stats, and by, those quests often lead to good loot for them and yourself, so it's really worth it to do. And, the story gets a little bit more complete when you get the whole picture, so I always do it. And I enjoy the conversations. The voice acting, for the most part, especially the companions, is very, very good. And the graphics still, they hold up pretty well for being a couple years old now. But I think we'll call it there for today. And next time we'll pick up and we'll choose a quest, and we'll stop talking so darn much. But until then, this has been Question All the Things, playing Dragon Age Origins. See you later.